This is all to make the game better. This is not to hate on the game. Some of it might be a little mean to say, I don't really know, but like this is all to make the game better because I want this game to last. I don't want it to die, and I want it to be very good. So when you're listening to the video, just remember this, okay? Because that's mostly what I want from this. I really want this game to succeed. I'm having a ton of fun. Some of the fun might be taken away with certain nerfs, but it'll be a healthier game overall. I am having an absolute blast playing, leveling up, and unlocking tons of new ways to play with different perks and ability upgrades in TXChainsaw Massacre. But this game has serious problems on both sides, family and victim, and problems all in between. Some problems so big and obvious it makes me think, was this game well thought out, or did they just throw it together without testing it? Let's talk about this. So obviously the game took a lot of work to make, and there's so much that goes into game dev that most people don't understand or can't seem to comprehend. So obviously, yes, this game was thought out very well, but so far it was executed pretty poorly because there's a lot of things that need to be fixed. But again, I'm still having a blast even though it seems very broken right now. So right now I'm just going to list off some of the problems for you, and then we'll talk a bit about it after. Certain perks only work on certain maps or against specific family members. Hits phase through victims a lot. Victims get an insane amount of iframes, that of which I've never seen in a video game before. Infinite stuns are possible against a killer without any repercussion. Hackers and cheaters are running rampant. XP gain is glitched, so most matches you don't even get XP. Just as an example, I've hit level 19 3 times in a row. The lobby timer is way too much and resets all the time when people unready up. With max proficiency, anyone can open a door in under 8 seconds. And there are usually 2 to 3 locks on a map that you have to break to get through to an exit, unless there's a cook obviously, so this leads to matches that you escape in under 90 seconds. Connie can break a lock in under a second. This is similar to if we compare to DBD, the old brand new part back in 2016, where it would instantly complete a generator. We'll talk about Connie more later. I have a good nerf idea for her, new ability. Most of you probably don't even know about this, but there's an option to use a lockpick on a lamp to trap the lamp. If a killer touches the lamp to turn it back on, they get stunned for 1 second. Why is this a thing? This mechanic doesn't make much sense. There's a lot of mechanics in this game that don't make sense. All that work for 1 second. And there's family perks again that can counter that for some reason, as if you ever touch a lamp and get stunned. As the family, you can hear victims' voices when they're trying to be quiet. Even some voices are like, guys, we gotta be quiet. And you can clearly hear that, and then you find the person. I hear victim voices all the time as a mostly family member player, and I just always feel so bad for them because it's out of their control. You can tank hits with Anna, or I'm pretty sure with anyone, but works best on Anna, while in the animation of lockpicking or doing a fuse box, putting on a valve. The killers can be swinging at you while you're doing these actions, and they can't do anything about it because you can just keep on going. This would be the equivalent as if the killer in DBD couldn't get you off of an exit gate and you can just power through it, power through all their swings. It is broken. And for this, of course, you need max toughness, and again, it works best on Anna because she can take 80% damage reduction or more. The Grandpa Wake Up cutscene completely destroys some abilities and ruins a lot of basement chases. Victims can escape the basement or stun Leatherface before they're even movable. Because again, victims wake up before the killer's cutscene is over, and as you can see in some of my videos, I get stabbed in the back by a Leland before I can even move my character. This is also possible to allow them to escape the basement before anyone can control their characters, making it so that there's already victims up in the house before the car battery can even be walked towards. In these cases, you wonder why the car battery doesn't just start on. If the victims can really escape in 90 seconds, what is the point of having the family go and turn on all these objectives when they should be setting up and feeding blood to Grandpa in this time? There's no keyboard customization. Seriously, middle mouse button to enter family vision and space bar to sprint? What? What are these controls? Who made these? And yes, I realize shift is a sprint, but to actually use your sprint burst, you gotta tap spacebar. Very weird. There's no real solid way to pick characters before queuing, kind of. I mean, I noticed day one, obviously, if you're going to customize a character and you queue up, you'll usually be put into that character. So for example, if I customize Sissy or customize Leland, if I queue as family or victim, it'll try to put me in as that character or the last played one that I was. This almost always guarantees you that character, but sometimes it doesn't. Sissy and Hitchhiker are the same kind of class, right? Cook and Johnny are the same kind of class as well, but Johnny is not up to par with the Cook. The Cook has 3 locks, which is a very important part of the game. It's almost like if you're comparing locks to generators in DBD, it is almost like he has 3 extra generators. Again, these can be done in 8 seconds or even 1 second by Connie, but it still slows down the game enough to put the Cook way above Johnny. Why doesn't Johnny have any of these? We'll talk about him in the future and my buff idea for him. Also, just a PS, I don't know why Sissy can hide in closets and stuff, but Hitchhiker can't. Also, it's not even a mechanic most people use because it's kind of useless. Because you still have to go in a whole animation to get out of the locker, and it's Sissy hiding in lockers is stupid. Grandpa perks don't have a good way of being selected in the lobby, so a lot of the time there's wasted grandpa perk slots. For example, 2 of the killers in the match could have the same perk on. Someone won't change it, and instead of the game just putting on another grandpa perk for someone, it just completely wastes one of the slots. Or doesn't stack the ability if it seems like it would be stackable. They could easily fix this by making it so that during the opening cutscene for killers, people can pick the grandpa perks, and it won't let 2 of the same ones be selected. And lastly, at least I think lastly, the skill tree and perk system is heavily flawed, and we made a whole video on that right when the game launched as well. Since then, I've been in multiple other people's chats, seen the complaints on the Reddit, seen complaints on Twitter, seen complaints everywhere that you can't play as you want to play, you can't pick the perks you want. It's all set in the same paths, even though the devs said we'd be able to fully customize our characters to the certain playstyles that we want. It doesn't seem like it could actually do that because it's all predetermined. And almost everyone you talk to about this system is just a little disappointed in it, which is the same with me, just disappointed. It's not anything that needs to be changed, but it's just sad to see how it launched this way. But wow, yeah, that was a lot, and I'm probably still missing a few things. So let me know in the comments if there was some stuff I'm missing. Anyways, I just played a full night of Victim last night, and I had an absolutely amazing time playing them. Victim right now is some of the most fun you can have in an ASIM game, in my opinion. And it just sucks that a lot of these changes that need to happen, or that will happen, will be a direct nerf to the Victim side. But hopefully in that nerf will come a new type of Victim playstyle that will change the game and make it scarier to play Victim. You won't feel like the power role in this game as Victim, because right now you do feel like the power role. That's probably why it's so fun. I love playing Killer in all these ASIMs, but why is Victim in this game more fun? It's because they're the actual power role in this game. They know the layout of the map better than the family. They can move through their own house faster than the family members. Over barricades, through cracks in the wall, through vaults, through vents, through crawl spaces, out windows, and family can't jump out windows. They can jump down their wells. They can maneuver the own family's property in a quicker pace than the family themselves. And it's kinda sad. They can run down their whole driveway before a single family member can even catch up, even though they were 3 feet away when they jumped out the window. The only one that can is Leatherface. And Sissy if you're poisoned and actually slowed it down, because victims are extremely fast in this game. They're tankier, they're stronger, they're better.
I'm stronger, I'm smarter, I'm better, I am better!
I'm putting fuse on.
That did 0 damage. I just tanked so many buff hits.
This is all almost a similar problem that VHS had, where the teens could end up bullying the supposed power role, the monster player, but the monster always had something they could do in the tug-of-war battle against them, so the game had a really fun back and forth to it. Sometimes during a match the monster would be in power, and sometimes the teens would have 4 crafted weapons, and it would be a bit scary for the monster player. But you always had abilities to counteract them if you played well. In this game, however, that back and forth element is non-existent. Most of the time the victim will just run straight past you toward an exit because they can simply tank your hits and make you run out of stamina, or at least get you low enough on stamina to where you no longer want to swing, or can't. In other ASIMs, as the killer, monster role, whatever it might be, you pretty much always know how many hits someone can tank before they die. But in this one, it's a complete mystery. Sometimes you do a chase and down someone in 3 hits, and sometimes not even 16 hits. Yes, I recorded a game where I landed 16 times in the same chase. He got his full cooldown. I don't even know how long his cooldown is. It's super long. He shoulder stunned me 3 times in the same one chase. Now that really depends on if your family member come to help you out, because none of them did come help me out. It was just a huge chase, 3 shoulder stuns. He eventually escaped. 16 hits. This can happen a lot because every time they go through a crack in the wall and you can't catch up, they can heal in a 2-second animation. There's almost always a ton of heals everywhere in the basement. They can hold 2 heals on them. They have perks to hide in shadows to heal. They can tank so much damage and run way faster than you and get more iframes. It's crazy. Now, I'm still having a lot of fun on family, but when it comes to these types of scenarios that pop up almost every single game, it gets pretty annoying. That is if the match doesn't last less than 90 seconds, of course. But yeah, going through a crack in the wall, by the time you go around to the other side, they'll press E again, the magical button, E, and be back through the crack. Even if you swung on them a foot away as they press E, you'd have like 0.2 seconds of non-iframes where your weapon might hit them once. Just like old Dead Hard in DBD, except there's no exhaustion. It's just press E and you win with iframes. It's really unfortunate. I didn't think it was possible to get worse iframes than Evil Dead the game, but it is here. It is much, much worse. It's unfathomable, these iframes right now. Like, you can hop in a fridge, hop in a locker mid-chase, hop in a closet, get pulled out, and you still gain distance on the family members. It is so bad. I don't know how it launched this way. I feel like it wasn't tested. It probably was, but I just don't know how you can be a dev of this game. And no hate towards the devs. I just don't know how you can be a dev of this game and see how there's nothing wrong with that. There is something heavily flawed with that many iframes. Your weapon phasing through the victim's bodies and doing no damage, but you lose stamina because of it. It's just not fun. In a game about fun, that is so unfun. It doesn't even feel like you're playing a video game. It feels more like you're watching cutscenes and waiting for them to end so that you could start playing. Now, I know the game is very cinematic, but I don't want to watch a movie here. We're here to play a game. And half the time in this game, you are waiting for little tiny cutscenes between victims to end so that you can play the game. That is a problem. Alright, let's talk about everything else though. So yeah, back to certain perks only working on certain maps. That is a weird one because that makes me think, was this game thought out? I don't know. Why is there a perk that helps against windows when there's only one map that has windows? Why are there perks that completely counter certain killers, like the bomb squad one that disables the hitchhiker's traps? If you see a hitchhiker in your game, you just equip bomb squad. Boom. Like, what? That feels like a Rainbow Six Siege League of Legends type of counter pick system, like a pick ban system. You see someone and then you put on the complete counter to it. This is why DBD always hid the killer off screen so you wouldn't pick certain things that'd be strong against that killer. But even when there were perks that were good against certain killers or items, let me just do a bunch of examples here. Old Saboteur in DBD used to counter the trapper's traps. Flashlights used to break the hag's traps, used to break the artist traps, used to burn the wraith. There were actually a ton of weird mechanics back in the day of DBD where a lot of perks or things would just interact with one specific killer and they would completely just like ruin the game in that way. So they changed all of that. The only perk in the game or anything that mechanically affects a certain killer is still a very weird mechanic, but it's Adrenaline, a Meg perk that wakes you up from Freddy's sleep. It's in the description of it, it says it wakes you up. That is still weird. That needs to go. But that is the only thing left in the game that actually interacts with the killer. So putting on specific perks and stuff won't just counter killers. I guess you can argue Lightborn like affects flashlights, but that is an entire mechanic in of its own. Completely stops blindness. In this game, a perk that affects windows when there's only one map with windows is very weird. A perk that affects traps when there's only one trap killer is very weird. A perk that helps lessen the effects of a lamp stun on the killer side is very weird when no one traps lamps. And you don't even turn on lamps most of the time because the brightness is pretty bright in this game. Unless maybe consoles, I guess. Maybe they have darker screens, I don't really know. But these like niche perks that do absolutely nothing or that just completely counter maps or counter killers is kind of nuts. I don't understand it. Even for, I think, Leatherface or someone, I got a perk that makes it so when I walk through Sissy's Poison Cloud, I gain movement speed or stamina bonus or something. Why? Why are there certain perks that only affect certain killers? That is so strange. That's not how any game should work. That's as if like, I'm just gonna compare to DBD again because that's what people know mostly in this community. I'm gonna say like League of Legends or all this, cause I don't know if I can compare stuff to that, but DBD people will know pretty well. That is like if a perk, let's just say Technician, a Fang Min perk. Technician completely stops static blast from the doctor because you're used to static electricity, you're a technician. Like that would be so stupid, wouldn't it? A perk that just completely counters a killer, like their full ability. You just don't get electrocuted with Technician. Like that's stupid. Perks like that shouldn't exist, especially when you can see which killers you're going up against. So yeah, I feel like that stuff's got to change, or like that's a lot to change, but it's just weird mechanically. I don't think people like that. I don't know if that's healthy for the game. It actually makes it more competitive. At least in DBD, you queue up with perks that you just want to use because they're fun to use. In this game, you see which killers you're going up against and you pick to counter them. That is competitive in a game where no one wants it to be. On to infinite stuns. This one's going to be very quick because everyone knows about it. There are streamers that are just doing this constantly just for funny videos, funny clips. I'm no hate to them. They're perfectly showing how broken this game is. So hopefully that gets fixed soon. I don't think the devs want this, hopefully. I hope it's not a mechanic that they want to stick around. Maybe after the door hits a killer or hits them twice, the door auto breaks. I don't know. Slams into their face and shatters. I mean, that'd be a pretty powerful slam, but yeah, that's maybe what should happen. Or you just can't be stunned for like 5 seconds after being hit by a stun, you know? Even I did this to a Leatherface once. He had to rev back up his chainsaw, so while he was mid-revving, I just stabbed him with a bone knife. Then he couldn't do anything. He still had to rev up his chainsaw when he was done with the animation. Stab him with another bone knife. Had the perk on where 40% chance it doesn't break my knife. So he was trying to rev up again. I stabbed him in the back. Then both my bone knives were finally broken. And if there was a door nearby, I could have totally just kept him stun locked in the door for a couple minutes because there's nothing you can do about it. So yeah, that stuff is really broken. Hopefully they fix that. Hackers and cheaters running rampant. I don't know a fix to this because I'm not a dev. I don't know anything about anti-cheat. But I'm sure they can figure it out. Most devs can. And especially when you're making a multiplayer game, you'd think you would have a lot of anti-cheat thought of, especially in 2023 when cheaters are just everywhere in games. So hopefully they got this one sorted soon. The glitches with XP gain right now. Maybe it's fixed by the time this video goes up, but it's been 13 days since launch. Still not fixed. You gotta wait as a victim until the full match is over. If you exit too early, you don't get XP most of the time, or all the time. I don't know. Again, I hit level 19 3 different times because I didn't get XP. So having to wait out the full match, that's very annoying. Sometimes I can escape in the first minute and then I gotta wait like 10 minutes in the match for all the other people to escape. And it's just so annoying to watch. So hopefully we get XP gain soon. And not just that, not just for victims, because victims actually gain XP like about 3 to 4 times faster than family members. The amount of 4Ks I've gotten in this game as Leatherface is crazy, and none of it has matched like a single match as victim. You gain XP so slowly when playing the family, and that is probably why I'm still such a low level in the game, because again, I've mostly played family. But yeah, XP gain way too slow. You get nothing as family members, so that's got to change. The lobby timer, this is very annoying because some people just, last night I had a full lobby timer. It was over 3 minutes of waiting. The 3 family members didn't want to play Leatherface. I was playing victim, so I had no control over this, but the game just kept saying, needs a Leatherface to start over and over and over. And as soon as it got down to like 10 seconds left, one of the victims left, both the family members left, and then the timer reset up back to like 1 minute, 25 seconds, waited for people to join, then a victim left, and then it just kept spiraling from there. As soon as it got down to like 20 seconds, someone unreadied, and the timer went back up to 1:20 for some reason. I don't understand how this works, but it is very lame. These lobbies take forever sometimes, and it's all dependent on if people ready up or not. If you are queuing for a match, you're most likely ready to play. So we need no longer than a minute-long timer for any game out there. A timer this long that can reset and that you have no control over is very sad. So hopefully the lobby timer changes. Very annoying. Now onto the max proficiency thing. So almost everyone has realized now that waking up grandpa early is not a bad thing. Just spam your breakout, rush out of the basement as quick as possible before Leatherface can even rev up his chainsaw. Get max proficiency so you do everything super quickly. It really doesn't matter. If you wake up Grandpa before the family members can even control their characters, it's fine because then they won't get a warning once you open the basement doors. It's actually helpful for the victims to wake up Grandpa as early as possible. It really affects nothing. The car battery will still have to be set up, they'll still have to be setting up the upstairs, but you'll already be out, so it doesn't even matter. Max proficiency is crazy how you can break a lock in under 8 seconds with any character. So something needs to be changed there. Locks need to have a set amount of time on them, like just make it, I mean, these are what's holding back the victims from escaping, right? They should not be broken in such a short amount of time. I saw a clip yesterday, I don't know if I'll have it up for you right here, but Scott June, he stunned a hitchhiker with a door and then broke an entire lock before the hitchhiker could get back up. It was so sad. Like, they just can't do anything. You break locks so fast in this game if you build your character correctly by just putting a lot of proficiency in them. One little stun animation on a killer will allow you to completely break a lock and escape. So it's very stupid, but yeah. The game overall just needs a slowdown. It just needs something to slow it down in the beginning phases. Allow for this fun attack and defense type of roles for the family. They should be allowed to set up the house. If anything, the family upstairs should get control of their characters first before anyone else so they can start setting up. That just makes sense in a defense type of game. Imagine in Rainbow Six Siege if the attackers didn't have to drone first, but instead they get to break into the building first before the defenders get to set up. That makes no sense. So hopefully that stuff changes. It mostly just all relies on the cutscene at the beginning being very strange, and then how quickly people with max proficiency can break locks, which is just super stupid. All right, on to Connie, because she can break locks in under 1 second. She feels really good to play, sure, but like it's stupid. Things that are OP do always feel good to play, but they sometimes need nerfs. So my supposed change to Connie, and again they would have to change all her ability trees probably, and it's a lot of work. But if you have a broken character like this, you got to make big changes, because breaking a lock in 1 second is the equivalent of old brand new part instantly completing a generator, except there are less generators on the map because you only need to break 2 locks to escape most of the time. So this is my change for Connie. She has a skeleton key, and I'm not going to go over a whole skill tree of secondary abilities that they can put on her. That's up to the devs. But her ability is this skeleton key that can break into anything. It's basically just an extra lockpick that you have that doesn't break. So you still have to go through the entire animation of the, breaking a lock, whatever your proficiency level is, stealth, all that. It just works exactly like a lockpick, but it never breaks and only has a short cooldown. And by short, I mean like 120 seconds. That is usually shorter than most cooldowns in the game, I feel like. So you can basically, as Connie, hold up to 3 lockpicks at a time. I think it would give her still a good role in the game, allow her to still get through doors. That's what she's meant to do. It just won't be in under 1 second of just one click of a button. So yeah, that could be a thing, or they could do their own thing with it, but her ability as it stands is broken. Way too good. Now I know there's already perks in the game that affect lockpicks and allow you to break a lock, but then your lockpick still stays with you, so you can break another lock. So technically she'd be able to have just an insane amount of lockpicks, but she'd still have to go through all the animations of it. And if they just slow down lockpicking in general, I think this would be a much better mechanic. Now, of course, I wouldn't want her to have all 3 of these lockpicks, or 4, or however many, because of the perks and all this stuff. I wouldn't want her to have it in the current state of the game where proficiency breaks locks in under 8 seconds. There should be like a time commitment of at least, I feel like at least 15 seconds to break a lock. I don't know. I'd want to like play test with all these different numbers, but right now as it stands, locks are breaking so quickly, it's really stupid. And yeah, it's the build I'm using too on Victim. Just max out your proficiency and you're breaking through the map instantly. But it doesn't feel good for the family side. You get to barely do any interactions in this game. Also, this should also be a nerf to the fuse box in general. I don't know why you need a lockpick to break into the fuse box, but you don't have to do any sort of lockpicking animation. They should definitely put the same lockpicking animation they have on doors onto the fuse box. I don't know why it's just like a hold E thing and it just ends in under 5 seconds and then you're into the fuse box. I think you should have to fully do the lockpick animation, but that's just my own thing. I don't know. A lot of people want nerfs to the fuse box. I think that would be a pretty okay one. So yeah, lockpicking in general, go up in time, and Connie, go down in time. We talking like caveman now. On to the option to trap lamps. Why is this a thing? Why is there a perk to counter it? I don't know. Did I already talk about this? Probably. Yeah, I already did. Anyways, that is such a stupid mechanic. I saw it for the first time yesterday on a Scott June stream. Yeah, he pressed E on the lamp to trap it, or whatever button it was, F maybe. He trapped the lamp, made the cook touch it, and there was a 1 second stun. A 1 second stun on something that's in the complete control of the family if they want to touch that lamp. I don't know. Why is this a mechanic? If anything, there's so many fuses around the map, you should be able to put a fuse into the lamp, and then if someone walks by it, it explodes on them and like blinds them or, you know, stuns them. That would be cool. That makes a lot more sense too. It's a fuse, not a lockpick. What is happening in this game? I don't even know. Was this even thought of? That is a whole like title of this video. Was this game well thought of? That mechanic does not seem well thought of. And we kind of already talked about hearing victims' voices, but I think they should just make it so that the family can't hear victims' voices. Hearing breath is very important in these kinds of games. I think even some perks that could affect how loud you hear their breath. Okay, I'm just thinking of Strider and DBD. But things like that, that's fine. But when they just randomly start talking when you're in family vision mode and you could just completely hear their exact location, that is the main way I find victims. So it discourages stealth in this game and encourages just speed rushing the game and tanking all the hits because you're a superhuman ethereal bodied victim that weapons can phase right through. The stealth in this game is how I catch most people as the family. If they try stealthing, you can hear them, you can see them. With your third person camera, they aren't going to be able to stealth. They're just not. So stealth needs a buff, being quiet needs some incentivizing, and speedrunning the game needs to be hard and nerfed. I would like to turn off the voice audio in this game because I don't want to hear the same sissy songs over and over again for 30 hours. But I can't turn it off because it's such an advantage as a family hearing the victims' voices, so I gotta keep it on. On to the grandpa cutscene. This one just seems bugged. While you're revving Leatherface's chainsaw, if the grandpa cutscene turns on, you keep revving it and then you overheat it. Very stupid. That needs to be fixed. Multiple other things can happen during grandpa waking up cutscenes. Victims can sometimes still control their characters and they can completely run away from the chase location. I've lost so many people when the grandpa cutscene turns on. They just appear in a completely new location. I don't even know what's happening there. The cutscene shouldn't even happen, honestly. It really shouldn't happen. Maybe a little pop-up window or like a little text that says grandpa is awake now. But the cutscene itself is getting annoying. It's very annoying. It was annoying in the tech test. People complained about it and it's still here. And it's after some people have 100 hours, I'm sure they're very tired of seeing that old man wake up. Especially since it most of the time will happen right at the start of the match, like before you can control your characters. It's just like you're just waiting for it at the beginning. Every single time you know it's about to happen and you know you're about to lose progress, lose the chase you're in. It needs to change. You're just awaiting the inevitable, and yeah, victims moving before the killers can move. This I feel like also needs to be changed. The only one that maybe shouldn't be able to move right away is Leatherface, but also it should be way quicker. They should not be able to break out of their rope and unlock the basement door before you can move Leatherface. They should not be able to sneak up behind you with a bone knife or a Leland shoulder charge before you can move your character. That stuff needs to go. Maybe a simple thing as simple as having the doors that the victims are in latched right away so that they have to either barge through it or unlatch it themselves would be enough of a slowdown to allow you to move your character or rev your chainsaw before they can sneak up behind you. Something there needs to change. I don't really know what it is, but the very start of the game as family is stupid. And the car battery should start on. I said this back in the tech test, the generator and car battery should start on. They actually did the generator one, so that's cool. Even though I got so many downvotes on Reddit, I don't think people on Reddit really know what they're talking about when they talk about game balance. But yeah, I'm glad the generator starts on now, but the car battery should as well. Especially if you play as Johnny and Cook on gas station or something, and you both spawn at the front of the gas station, someone has to run all the way through all the doors, all the cages, or all the gates to the back of the map, get interrupted by a grandpa cutscene on the way there, probably have victims run past you, and then you can finally turn on the car battery. I've had that happen multiple times where we both spawn at the start of the gas station and have to run to the back. So yeah, maybe allow, if there's 2 of those family members, just allow 1 to spawn in the back. There's really no point of Johnny spawning in the front, so I don't really know. Or just allow people to pick their spawn locations. That'd be nice too. On a keyboard customization, we've already talked about this basically. All I needed was that 1 sentence. But yeah, allow us to customize our key bindings. That'd be nice. I'm getting used to it now, but it's very weird, a game in 2023 not having keyboard customization. I think Evil Dead did the exact same thing, and then they eventually added it, or maybe it was Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed, one of these games, and that was just, why? That is such a key feature, no pun intended. Like, I just don't know how you just miss that. And then you make the controls middle mouse to do certain abilities, spacebar to sprint. I don't understand. Onto the not being able to pick characters before queuing kind of thing, because you actually kind of can, but at the same time it doesn't have good player feedback. Just allow people to pick their characters. Like actually at the menu, you click the top right, click on Johnny, and then you click on the victim, and if you press quick play, it'll put you in as Johnny or whatever, Leland or whoever you have picked. If you play as the victim side, it'll put you in as the victim. If you play the family side, it'll put you in as Johnny, you know? That'd be nice. Maybe on loadouts, don't allow people to pick their grandpa perks, because it ends up with scenarios where 2 people have the same grandpa perk. Instead, at the start of the game, or while it's loading or whatever, the grandpa perk menu pops up. Everyone gets to select their own grandpa perk. It grays out the ones that other people select, so you can't select the same ones. And boom, fixed. Now there are always 3 grandpa perks in the match at a time. If anything, grandpa perks should have been the only thing in the game that are locked behind certain characters. Not all these other perks in the skill tree, but grandpa perks, maybe only certain characters can have certain ones, because you can't have 2 of the same characters anyways. So if Leatherface had like 4 types of grandpa perks, and then Sissy had 4, and all these other characters, it would never allow you to have 3 of the same grandpa perks on a team, or 2 of the same ones. It would be all completely unique. I think that would be a very good mechanic, but also just my thing where it just pops up a menu and people pick their perks there. That'd be nice as well. And then the skill tree and perk system being heavily flawed, that was my last point. But we made a whole video on that before. There's a lot they could do there. It would take a lot of time, but yeah, you could just go watch that video instead. Lots of people hate this system, so you could also just browse the Reddit, browse anywhere, and people will tell you about it and why it needs to be changed. Or not needs to, but should be changed, because it's just an outdated kind of system. I think the point that brings back replayability, like there would be almost, I would not like DBD, and I haven't for many years, but then I recently got back into it, but there would be like no replayability in that game if you couldn't make fun builds. Most videos about DBD are trying out different builds. You have all these different add-on slots. There are hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of customization options and combinations you can do with all sorts of different things in the game. And in this game, you go up the left side of the skill tree, you go up the middle, or you go up the right. That is all the customization you got. You got like a couple combinations, because you get 8 perks on each side, maybe sometimes like 6 perks. There's not much you can do there. Maybe a couple different combinations. You have 3 slots, 8 perks. I don't really know the math on that, but that is not anything compared to having all the perks unlocked and being able to fully customize your character how you want to play, your own play style. It'd be nice if we could do that. Except again with grandpa perks. Grandpa perks, I feel like that should be unique if they don't do the menu system where it pops up and allows people to pick, so that there's none of the same ones. Yeah, the perk system as it is now should just be the grandpa perk system. And once all is said and done and victims are nerfed to become more stealthy and less proficient, less tanky, and less of a power roll, then and only then should they nerf Leatherface as well with his middle ability skill tree, because he can one-shot victims right now, and it is stupid. But it is kind of the only thing that's countering victims at the moment, so if they nerf him first and then victims stay as is, I mean the game is donezo. It's donezo. So hopefully in the same patch they can nerf that Leatherface ability while also nerfing victims. And then the game will be in such a more healthy state. There's already so many people complaining about the game because they are noticing these problems. Problems that honestly a lot of us noticed in the tech test and haven't been fixed yet. But there's a lot, again, I said at the beginning of the video, that goes into game dev. We don't know everything. And this is all a lot that they have to work on. But hopefully it can get right, and the game will be better for it. Because as much as they have said that they don't care if this game lasts super long, it would be great if it does last super long. But they didn't make this as a game like DBD that's going to last 7 years, 7+ years. They made it as a fun game you can play with your friends, have some fun on. But honestly, it's more frustrating than fun right now, on one of the sides at least. And I would like them to want the game to last super long. I would like them to start balancing it and making it a game that can last, instead of just using that as an excuse, being like, well, we didn't design it that way. But it could always change into that. That's the fun of game dev, I feel like. Games can evolve over time. It's 2023, games get updates all the time and completely change. This one doesn't need to completely change, but a lot of the core mechanics do need buffs or nerfs. And again, there's just some weird mechanics in the game that don't make any sense at all, like the perks, like we've talked about. So let me know your thoughts on this. This was a long video, but this game has a lot of problems, so it needed to be this length. Hopefully I didn't repeat myself too much. Let me know what you think about all these problems. I still do think they didn't think a lot about this game when designing some of these mechanics, like the perk thing and the lamp. There are some things I'm missing. I already know it. I'm gonna start up a game and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's a problem too. There's a lot of problems, but every game has problems at the beginning. And if there's any game that had the most problems at the beginning that is now pretty much mostly all fixed, it is DBD. That game went through so many phases. I quit it so many times and came back because that might be one of the games that had the most problems overall in gaming history. I can make a whole video on that, but yeah, it was crazy back then how bad it was. So I'm appreciative that the DBD devs at least wanted to do that to their game, and I hope the TXChainsaw devs want to do that to this game as well. It might start out buggy and broken. Hopefully it can get up, use its iframes to get up off the ground and start running. Yeah, okay, anyways. I'll see you guys in the next video very, very soon.